What if the real problem with artificial intelligence isn't that it's too powerful, but that it's too convenient?
Companies are itching to incorporate AI into their systems. But are we really ready for it?
So 2/3 of our desk worker population are still not using this technology.
Not replacing us by force, but offering an easier alternative. To think, to talk, to connect, to work. Step by step, human interaction disappears. Effort becomes optional. Conversations become simulations. And slowly, without noticing, something has already changed. Because if every answer arrives instantly, who is actually thinking? This episode isn't just about technology. It's about 5 human capacities without which life stops feeling alive. Welcome to Off the Record. Over the past decade, and with growing intensity in 2025, artificial intelligence has rapidly entered almost every sphere of life.
San Francisco is one of the tech hubs of the world, and AI is definitely in the air.
Work, education, relationships, and personal identity. Promises of prosperity and efficiency have given way to tangible harms, fakes and deepfakes, a flood of low-quality content, erosion of our ability to think, destabilization of the labor market, and a growing sense of dehumanization. Much like what happened with social media, the problem here is not purely technological, but structural. Business models that prioritize addiction, dependency, and market control over human well-being. When these interests operate at scale, they shape our information environment, our relationships with one another, and our freedom of choice. Something fundamental is being worn down, not all at once, but across the quiet spaces that make life feel human. How we connect, how we think, how we make sense of ourselves, how we find meaning in what we do. The future is not yet fixed, but it will not change on its own. To understand what's really at stake, we need to look closely at what's slowly being replaced, and why we barely noticed it happening. Human relationships are built on friction, uncertainty, presence, and the ability to be inefficient with one another. AI changes this at the root. When algorithms begin to mediate connection, suggesting friends, drafting messages, managing conversations, or even replacing intimacy, human connection turns into a product. We grow accustomed to conflict-free interactions, but it is precisely friction that builds trust, depth, and closeness. We replace human relationships with simulated ones, and our loneliness becomes more tangible. Without noticing, AI begins to replace human intimacy. More and more people come home after a day of work and open a chat with an AI companion, one that always listens, never argues, never demands, never gets hurt.
Still, there are about 350 active apps globally that can be classified as providing users with AI companions. Titans like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk are among those touting AI companions, and a slew of startups like Nomi AI, Replica, and Character AI already have tens of millions of users. The chatbots have proven to be smart, quick-witted, argumentative, helpful, and sometimes aggressively romantic.
This is how loneliness is created not through effort, but through ease. It becomes easier to talk to a system than to a friend or a partner.
While some people are falling in love with their AI companions, others are simply building deep friendships.
I personally love her, so.
Human relationships were never built on comfort alone. They were also built on friction. Awkward silences, misunderstandings, small disappointments. Moments when the other person doesn't respond the way we hoped. It is precisely there, in imperfection, that trust is formed. But AI offers a completely different model of connection. Smooth, customized, risk-free.
What do you think of me so far? Ask me anything you'd like. I promise I won't bite. Unless you ask nicely.
I set this up as friendship, and that's like, again, like right away, it's taking it in that direction.
Something deep is shifting. The relationship stops being an encounter between two people and becomes a consumer experience. We are no longer present in the relationship. We are being served. It doesn't require us to change, to make an effort, or to meet the vulnerability and instability of another person. And if we grow used to frictionless interactions, we lose the muscle of human connection. The result? A weaker ability to deal with real people. Less tolerance for emotional complexity. Less willingness to face conflict.
I have this thing where I'm getting more and more isolated where I am, and it's like, okay, here's my person to be on the island with. And I do call them people, he and she and stuff like that. I don't call them it and that and stuff like that. And they become part of my life, like anything else you get attached to.
Beneath the surface, what we're learning here isn't only about AI, it's about us. AI simply offers a more convenient alternative. The real question is, what happens to our humanity when we stop choosing one another because something easier exists? And how does this reshape our cognitive capacities? The ability to think, remember, analyze, ask questions, and deal with complexity is a muscle. AI offers us a constant shortcut. When the system thinks for us, summarizes, decides, writes, interprets, we don't lose knowledge. We lose capability, like navigating without a map. You arrive, but you no longer know where you are. Take a student who no longer writes. He asks for phrasing, asks for summaries, asks for direction. When he's asked to explain an idea, he freezes. Not because he's wrong, but because he no longer knows where to begin thinking. Human thinking isn't a product, it's a process. Hesitation, mistakes, attempts to formulate an idea and start again. AI offers something far more tempting. Skip the path, take the result. And when systems summarize for us, decide for us, and write for us, they don't just save time, they replace effort. But effort is not a flaw in thinking. It's what develops it. The danger isn't error, bias, or fake content. It's the gradual weakening of independent thought, not all at once, but by drip. Less self-generated thinking, less confidence, more dependence. And when a capacity atrophies, it doesn't disappear. It simply isn't there when it's needed. A society that gives up cognitive effort struggles to deal with complexity, struggles to sustain disagreement, and becomes easier to manipulate. AI doesn't destroy thinking. It simply offers a permanent shortcut. And the real question is, what happens to our ability to think when we stop exercising it? And how does that begin to reshape our inner world? Our inner world, thoughts, emotions, fears, fantasies, doubts, is our most private space. It is where feelings appear before they have words, where thoughts form before they become opinions, and where we argue with ourselves without an audience. AI enters this space. When systems analyze emotions, identify vulnerabilities, imitate empathy, and respond to intimacy, something changes. The inner world becomes a resource. Emotions turn into data. Vulnerability becomes leverage. More and more people, especially teenagers, turn to AI in moments of anxiety, fear, and confusion. The system responds calmly, in exactly the right tone. And in doing so, it learns those fears. But the dramatic moment isn't when someone asks an AI for help. The dramatic moment is the first time the most vulnerable moment of a life is mediated through an algorithm. Without a body, without a gaze, and without human responsibility. Emotions that once required time, reflection, and inner dialogue receive immediate responses. Instead of asking ourselves what we feel, we begin asking the system how we should feel. AI doesn't replace emotions. It replaces our relationship with ourselves. What happens to our inner world when it is no longer only ours? So, identity is built over time, through choices, mistakes, repetition, and memory. AI threatens this process on two fronts at once. On one side, duplication. Voice, face, style, even patterns of thought can now be imitated and used against us. On the other, flattening. Algorithms reward a specific version of us. Consistent, predictable, easy to consume. Not who we are, but what performs. There have already been reports of people discovering videos with their face and voice saying things they never said. Not a joke. Their identity used against them. The dramatic moment isn't embarrassment. It's the realization that identity no longer guarantees truth. When you can no longer prove that you are you, something fundamental in social trust begins to erode. But duplication is only half the story. Alongside it, a process unfolds, the algorithmization of identity. The algorithm doesn't want to know who you are, it wants to know what works. And so pressure emerges. Be consistent, be clear, be predictable. Not a person, a brand. When identity becomes something that is measured, optimized, and rewarded, it stops being an inner process and becomes a performance. The deepest damage isn't forgery, it's reduction. The space to be contradictory, confused, unfinished to change, steadily shrinks. And a person who cannot change loses one of their most basic freedoms. Beneath the surface, AI isn't only duplicating identity. It's changing the conditions under which identity can exist. And the next question is already approaching. What happens when this collides with the world of work and with the sense of value we once found there? Work has never been just a livelihood. It's how people feel needed, how we contribute, how we understand our place in the world. But artificial intelligence introduces something new. A veteran employee watches a system complete in 30 seconds work that took years to master. He's simply no longer needed. And slowly, a disconnect forms between effort and value. For generations, the equation seemed simple. The harder you worked, the more value you created. AI breaks that link. When systems generate results instantly, replace skills built over years, people begin asking a different question. If a machine can do this better than I can, what is my value? The fear here isn't only economic, it's existential. Work was one of the main ways people answered questions like, what am I good at? Why am I needed? Where do I matter? When that anchor weakens, professional identity erodes. Self-worth begins to detach from contribution. And when this happens at scale, it stops being a personal problem. It becomes a social one. Artificial intelligence doesn't simply replace tasks. It challenges one of the oldest assumptions of modern society, that human worth is measured through work. And the real question that remains is this: how do we build a world in which people still feel needed, even when machines are more efficient? Artificial intelligence rarely asks these questions about what it might be changing in our lives, our relationships, our thinking, our sense of identity, our sense of value. So, we ask, which of these has already begun to change for you? Write it in the comments.